Hello, hello. I present to you today the retirement tour. And this is basically a group of makeup products that are going to be decluttered from my collection no matter what this upcoming June. For context, being a teacher, I live my life in the academic year. So I am right now in August, September, starting my year, okay? Because I live my life based on the academic year. So the school year started a couple weeks ago. So that's how I organize my life being a teacher. Also, it is what dictates when I move locations. So I have to think about things as end of the year is gonna be next June. So next June, it's more than likely, I'm gonna say more than likely because nothing is like confirmed or anything like that, but it is very likely, allegedly, that I'm going to be moving locations, and that's going to be impacting my entire makeup collection. I think I've made some references to that in a couple of videos before. So that means that I have to decide, okay, what's going to come, what's not going to come. And initially, what's going to happen is that the things that are not going to come are things that I have used up heavily. And by the time we reach June, either I will have finished them or they're gonna be empty enough that it's not gonna be worth hauling around wherever it is that I go, or products that I had been thinking about decluttering because they have served their purpose in my collection as it was. So today I'm gonna do a full face of all of these products in the retirement tour, and we're gonna talk about them. None of these are products that you haven't seen before because again, they've been in my collection for a while at this point, but they've reached a level of use where it really doesn't feel worth it throwing them in a bag or in a box next June when I move, because I've used quite a bit of them. So let's just get going. Let's start with brows. I will do my brows on camera for this purpose, and the first product is this. You can see that yes, all of that was full of brow product when I bought it, okay? This is the Benefit Foolproof Brow Powder. I use shade 5. I'm pretty sure that this doesn't come in this component anymore either. I think that it comes in a round pot. My eyebrows are quite wonky and need to be like tidied up, but this is not gonna be the weekend for that. I think that if you are a returning subscriber, I think it's fair to say that at this point, you guys know that my entire makeup channel is just Hot Mess Express all the time. So I think that you guys can live with a little bit of chaos and understand that, like, yes, no, I don't do my eyebrows professionally and they always look kind of wonky, but quite frankly, I don't care. This is a great powder. I really have nothing bad to say about it. Benefit knows what their niche is and they execute what their bestseller and kind of like the root of their brand is flawlessly, in my opinion. I mean, I've never run into like a bad Benefit brow product, but it's hard to describe this pan. Like basically all that's left is like what's sticking to that side of the pan, because I've had this since 2018, like late 2018. I know that sounds unsanitary and probably worrisome to a lot of people, but I do think that powder products have a lot more longevity. And this has never caused me breakouts or anything weird. Like I've never had any sort of like negative skin reaction with this brow powder. So I've kept using it all of this time. And the only reason why I'm decluttering it in June is because it's a fairly large component for a brow product. So I'll use as much as I can between now and June, but this one is definitely on the retirement tour. And knowing that this comes in a smaller component now, it's like, it's almost a little bit of an incentive to like, okay, let's keep using this, but eventually I will replace it. I don't have a primer to show you for the retirement tour because I don't really have a primer on the retirement tour. Today for primer, I'm wearing the Ritual de Fille Thorn Oil. It's just a lovely product and it interacts really well with most things, and it interacts really well with the foundation that is in my retirement tour, which is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I use shade Joaquin. So I'm right under half of the bottle, and I use this foundation maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I typically use like 2 pumps. I'm gonna apply it with the Sigma F47, which is like my go-to foundation brush. And again, I'm only getting rid of this, and God only knows, I might change my mind because that's entirely possible, because I've used quite a bit of it. And since I use it really frequently for really general makeup application purposes, I think it's safe to expect that by the time June 2025 rolls around, that bottle is going to be really, really low, if not borderline empty, okay? By then, I expect that it's gonna be pretty hard to pump, because it's not like a super, like the pump is not super strong, like it doesn't go up and down super well. So I imagine that by the time June comes around, I'll be having probably a harder time pumping out of the bottle. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, using it 2-3 times a week, sometimes more, I think it's fair to expect that I'm gonna be able to move through it, if not completely, pretty damn close. So I don't feel bad about retiring this one and like not taking all of it with me, like not necessarily scraping every single drop of it. I mean, there's a part of me that does feel sorry because it is a beautiful product. It leaves such a skin-like finish and it applies so smoothly on the skin that, I mean, of course I want to finish the bottle, but I also have to be practical. And I mean, I don't want to get a mess in my shipping. I don't want to get a mess in my luggage that I pack, or my containers that I pack, or whatever it is that I do to pack my makeup. I don't want a mess to happen because I insisted in stubbornly dragging a glass almost empty bottle. Does that make sense? So that's why this one is on its retirement tour. Again, I think that, well, I moved it, but it's around here. That's about as much as I have. So I'll keep updating you as the months go by on how the items on the retirement tour are doing, but the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation is definitely there. Again, this is not about not liking products. It's about, by the time I have to pack my makeup in June, some of these are gonna be really, really close to empty, if not empty. Of course, if they're empty, obviously I'm not gonna take them. But if they are not empty, they're gonna be pretty close, so there's not gonna be any point on dragging them around across the world. I'm applying the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer, the zombie product of my collection at the moment, because this thing will not end. My God. I'm not officially including it in the retirement tour because in theory, I'm supposed to be pretty close to finishing it, but I guess that we should say that it is on the retirement tour because honestly, like, it's like the never-ending concealer. Like I don't use the most concealer in the world, especially with this one because it's a high coverage concealer. But honest to God, like this is like, it's like a bottomless pit of concealer. I don't know how you manage to pack this much product in this container, but like it just does not end. It's not a bad thing because it's a good product, but it's like, I don't know if this happens to you too, but like there's just a moment when it's like, when is this gonna end? What on earth? Like, how is there still product here? Because, you know, like you've been using a product for a really long time and it's like, come on, man. By the way, the Light Reflecting Foundation I bought sometime in the second half of 2021, probably, somewhere around there. And then yeah, the brow product I told you I bought in the fall of 2018, so that thing is ancient. This concealer, the Overachiever, I think I bought, I want to say in the fall savings event of either 2021 or 2022. I'm going to say maybe 2022. I'm not sure. I've had it for a while, and let me see if I can squeeze carefully to not make a mess. So like, if you like keep squeezing, like this is when you start getting, no, not yet. This is when you start getting like a little drop. Like you have to squeeze quite a bit. So I know that most of what's in here is air. I'm actually hoping that I can finish this one by the end of this calendar year. So like by the end of December, I'm hoping. And this is the concealer that I use most days for work and whatnot, but it's just been a really what's the word I'm looking for? Stubborn product in terms of like, it just doesn't end. Like you keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing that little tube and it just does not end. So whatever happens, I do expect to finish it maybe by the end of the calendar year, but if I don't, I will trash it. I will throw it away at the end of the school year in June 2025. I don't have a powder on the retirement tour, but I'm gonna be using my super heavily panned LYS Triple Fix powder. I think that this will also be another product that I will finish by the end of the calendar year, and I'm quite pleased with that. LYS is a brand that is like, it's all heavy hitters, like it's all high batting average for me. Like the products just perform so well. Not gonna lie, the cream blush formula is not my favorite. I think it's a little stiff and I prefer something that is a little bit easier to manipulate, but they are very pigmented and they do leave great color behind and have great lasting power. So I really do like them, and I'm just starting to try the setting spray and it's lovely. I think that this powder I will definitely finish probably by the end of the calendar year, but this is another one that, you know, same thing, should something happen and I don't finish it by June, I will just pass it along. I will just get rid of it because it's a big component. I have other powders, but I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep showing you this pan because it's gigantic. I really think that it's reasonable for me to think that with the frequency of use, which is like every day I go to work, and right now every time I do my makeup I'm using that powder because I want to finish it, I think it's safe to expect that I will finish it by the end of December. I don't have a bronzer in the retirement tour because I don't really have that many bronzers, period. So today for bronzer, I'm just gonna use one that I've been kind of neglecting lately, and it's sad because it's a lovely formula. It's the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzer. I use the shade Medium Dark. This is a lovely product, and honestly, it's kind of a shame that I've been neglecting it. I shouldn't, I should use it more often, but it's like a level of pigmentation that is like, see, it's so easy. I am noticing, at least with the, I'm noticing that at least with the current level of pigmentation in my skin, this is bringing a level of pinkiness that it doesn't usually, which is kind of interesting. So maybe it's a situation where like in the next couple of weeks or months, I use this a little bit as a bronzer, you know what I mean? Like a bronzer blush, a bronze ball. I use it more like a bronzer blush of sorts, but I personally think that this is an underrated formula. People talk more about like other cheek products from Makeup by Mario, and definitely the bronzer stick as opposed to the powder bronzer, which I don't know. I think that more people need to try the powder bronzer. Because it is a really lovely product that is very easy to use and leaves a very, very natural bronze on the skin, as you can see. Okay, but this is not officially on the retirement tour because I'm nowhere close to hitting pan on this, and I really do like it. I just haven't been using it very often lately. Okay, let me show you the blushes that are on the retirement tour because there are three. There are 3 blushes on the retirement tour, 2 creams and 1 stick. Let's go with the stick first. The stick is the Nude Sticks, what is this called? Nude Sticks Intense Matte Lip and Cheek Pencil, shade Belle. This is how much I have left of it. I could probably take it wherever I go, but I actually think that I will probably finish it sometime between now and June, because I don't know how much after like this I would be able to A, sharpen it, and B, manipulate it. So there's this one. It's a really nice like dusty rose for my skin tone. And then there is the Stila Convertible Color in Magnolia. Pretty intense pan over there. I don't know that I'll finish it by June, but if I don't, I will declutter it, simply because, again, it's just, I'm not gonna drag like little bits and pieces of product around the world. It's not gonna happen. I've been using this lately quite often because on me, it's kind of like a nude blush. And then the other one is the Melt Cosmetics Blush Light in Pink Sand. I really like the formula. It's really slippy and balmy and whatnot. But again, at this point, like the pan's kind of heavy. I use it fairly frequently and I expect that between now and June, that pan is only gonna grow. So there's gonna be quite a bit of product left. I'm just trying to think which one I should use of these three. Let's go with the nude sticks. So here's a swatch in my hand so that you can see what the color looks like. As you can see, it's like a pretty, for me, it's like a pretty neutral pink. I'm gonna use the same brush that I use for the bronzer for the sake of like, it helps me at least with keeping uniformity with my blush and my bronzer to use the same brush that I use. If it's a powder bronzer and then I'm using a cream blush, I will often use the same brush that I use for the powder bronzer. And the way that I apply this cheek pencil is that I basically draw with it. I use the crayon to draw in my hand and then I pick up with the brush from my hand. I haven't bought a nude sticks product in a really, really long time. I got that in a subscription box in, oh my God, 2019 maybe? Same thing with the Stila. I got this in a subscription box in 2020 or 2021. And then I got this melt blush in a spring savings event. I wanna say the spring savings event of 2022, something like that. You can see it almost brand new in like my very first makeup collection video that I did back then. I'll link it in the cards if you haven't seen one of those like early videos in my channel. So you can see kind of like the progress of my collection through time. I'll actually link the whole playlist because I have videos from 2022, 2023, and 2024. Is that it? Is that correct? Or 2023 and 2024? Because my channel is only like a year and a half old. I'll link whatever makeup collection videos I have in the cards and the whole playlist so that you can see them if that's something that is interesting to you. But those are the blushes that are on the retirement tour. Interesting that they're all cream blushes. And I mean, I just think that it reflects what my preferences have been in the last couple of years, which have been heavily leaning towards cream and liquid blushes. The last powder blushes that I bought on their own, not in a palette, were the Pat McGrath blush palettes that came out in holiday 2021. After that, I've only bought blushes in the Hourglass palettes that came out in 2022 and 2023. And then I bought a NARS cheek palette, which was the holiday release for 2023, but I bought it later. I bought that, and that's all the blush that I've bought as far as powder blushes go. Everything else in the last like 2 years has been cream or liquid blushes. It's how it is. So it makes sense that what I have in my retirement tour for blushes are 3 cream blushes because it's really what I've been using the most. Highlighter. We have 2 kinds of highlighters here. I'm gonna use probably both for the sake of showing you both of them. One is a liquid highlighter, which is the Beauty Crop Glow Milk Nourished with Coconut Oil. It's an illuminating milk for face and body. I've only used it in my face as a highlighter. This is the shade Blind Date, which is like a rose gold. This is a pretty substantial bottle. It's gonna be really hard to see on camera, but I'm like down to here, really. Like around there. I've used most of this bottle, which is kind of mind-blowing. I got this probably in a subscription box. I know I got it in a subscription box, maybe around like holiday 2019, something like that. I hope that this video is also like a reminder to all of us of just how long it takes to use up makeup. I have made and unmade so many carts. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, like it's the little like makeup shopping goblin that we have, like, give me. But I'm trying to remember, like, no. You wanna make sure that you can pack your makeup collection. You don't need it. You have other goals right now. Take it easy. You already know one thing that you're gonna buy for sure in September. Pump the brakes. I'm hoping to continue that way. I know that I'll have to buy a couple of things because I'll need skincare replacements, but like I was this close to buying like 5 or 6 eyeshadow palettes this morning, which is like, girl, really? Come on. I mean, let's be honest. I don't need any more eyeshadow palettes right now, but I wanted them. And, you know, like, especially like when you know that, you know, financially you could probably afford it in terms of like the disposable income that you have, it's easy to be like, well, but you can because you have the money. But it's like, but do you really need to spend that money on that right now? You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's touch base on this highlighter for a hot minute. I need to blend a little bit more here. So this is, again, it's supposed to be like a face and body highlighter. I only use it for my face, but I really like how natural it looks. And most of the time I just use the liquid. Again, it's hard. It's really, really hard to tell on camera, but this bottle is mostly empty. And also because of the time, it's pretty gloopy. So I'm pretty sure that this is I'm just like using it until it's like falling in little pebbles in my hand and it's completely dried down. But yeah, by the time June rolls around, there's gonna be little to nothing there, next to nothing. So I have no qualms with getting rid of it, which is going to leave me with the powder highlighters. And it's going to be this palette. This is on its retirement tour. It's the e.l.f. Glow Gleam Beam palette. And this is in the dark shade. I got this sometime in either 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I'm going to be using just that rose gold powder shade to top this. These are really nice highlighters. And this is the first highlighter of any kind that I ever owned, for the record. Like it can be, you know, quite a blinding highlighter when it wants to be. I'm using this shade. As you can see, like I use these often. Right now I'm using them very often as like kind of like my default brow bone inner corner highlight for my eyes when I'm not using something else. Like if I don't know what to use, I'm using basically these two shades. This I can't use because it's too dark on me. And this I don't use because I don't like it. It's way too yellow on me. Then this gave me an allergic reaction, so I scrapped it. And this was the chunkiest of the chunkiest glitters on earth, came shattered. I repressed it, shattered again. I gave up on it. So this palette and I, We've had a roller coaster of a relationship, let's just say that. But I'm very grateful to it because it taught me to use highlighter. It taught me what highlighter was and that I actually love it. But at this point, I only have two shades that I use. I've hit pan on both of them and I simply have better highlighter formulas in my collection. I have Pat McGrath, love. Becca, still love, still slaps. Kaleidos, amazing. What else do I have for highlighters in my collection that are fantastic? Rare Beauty, love. Charlotte Tilbury, love. I mean, I have great highlighter formulas. No offense to this little palette, but she's served me well. She's fulfilled its purpose in my makeup life and collection. So when June comes, I am perfectly at peace letting it go. I have no problem with that. And this is gonna lead us to the last two items. Actually, no, there are three items left because one is an eyeshadow primer. So the eyeshadow primer is my Kokie Prep Up. I'm pretty sure this is almost empty because it really doesn't feel like there's much in there. But if it's not empty, I'll get rid of it when I leave next June, because I'm pretty sure that it's almost empty. I expect to finish it, if not this winter, next spring. I don't expect to like have to throw away any product in it, but if there is any product in it, it will be very, 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 very little. First eyeshadow primer I ever used. I really think it's a great drugstore option that not a lot of people talk about. I will leave any of these products that are available linked in the description box if you would like to try any of them. Some of my links are affiliate links, but they are clearly marked as such. If you do use them to purchase, shop responsibly always, but I may earn a small commission from that purchase, so thank you for supporting the shenanigans over here. But yeah, there's gonna be very little in the eyeshadow primer. I really do like it because it's really thin and not too tacky, but with just enough hold for like an everyday situation, you know what I mean? Okay, last but not least, I have two eyeshadow palettes on the retirement tour. I've talked about these before. One is the Zoeva Mini Cocoa Blend. This thing has gone through the ringer. I mean, you're seeing it. One shade gone, two shades gone, really. One that seems to be crumbling as I'm looking at it. Sorry, I'm just gonna get some of that powder off so that I'm not getting fall out everywhere. And then yeah, it's this shade, Warm Notes. This is crumbling badly. And it's actually getting in the one matte that I use heavily, which is Substitute for Love, which is like this kind of like lid setting shade. Okay, we have to clean up a little bit here. So see why this isn't on the retirement tour? It's in bad shape. She's an old lady. And I mean, clearly she served me very well. I have nothing but love for the Zoeva eyeshadow formula. It's fantastic and it's incredibly beginner friendly. So I'm gonna use Substitute for Love just to set my lid. And then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Wah wah. We shall see. I bought this in a set of 3. I wanna say either Black Friday 2019 or Black Friday 2020. And the other 2 were decluttered. I think I decluttered both of them last year. If I remember correctly, I just passed them along to my school's performing arts department, which is like just getting started and didn't have a makeup kit for performances that like can be used with students. So I disinfected everything and passed along a bunch of things. If you want to see that declutter, which is like the only declutter that I've ever done, I'll leave that also linked in the card. You can see it here. That was last December. I was like, I think about like the products that I put in that declutter right now, and I'm like, yeah, that was absolutely the right decision to make. No qualms with getting rid of any of those. And then let's actually combine these 2 palettes. The other one is the Natasha Denona Mini Nude, and it's just a matter of the packaging is busted and it would not survive going in transit anywhere. It would just not survive it. I bought this on holiday 2021. So I've had it for a while and I use it a bunch. But I've also been thinking like, okay, this is on the retirement tour. Would I actually repurchase it when the time comes? I've said in other occasions that I would repurchase it after I get rid of it, because yeah, like it's in bad shape. It's in really bad shape. Like especially the shimmers are getting quite crumbly. I've said before that, you know, I would repurchase it, but I'm actually thinking now, upon seeing some of Miss Natasha's new releases or releases from the past year, that maybe I wouldn't repurchase it, because I'm pretty sure that if I buy in the future, I need a nude and I need a warm, which I am thinking about buying those in the future. Like those 2 are on my palette wish list. I am not really sure that I would need this. Even if it's a mini, but like as you can see, like the packaging is really flimsy, so I don't trust them for travel. So it's not like I'm gonna travel with this unless I'm going like by car, and even then I'm not even sure that I would travel with one of these mini palettes, because yeah, the packaging is just too flimsy. So I don't know. I do think that I don't really know if any of these shades are in either I need a nude or I need a warm, but I also have Biba, and many of these shades are rather similar to shades that I already have in Biba. So I don't know that I would replace this after I retire it at the end of this academic year, but it is a fantastic palette to have. It is one of those like neutrals that you really don't need much else, especially if you like warm neutrals, because you can transform the look with all of these shimmers and you will be totally fine. Just trying to think which of all of these shimmers I'm gonna use. I think I'm gonna use this shade, which I think is called Sienna. This one, I think I'm gonna use this one. I hope that this doesn't clash too terribly much with the cheek makeup. We'll see. We'll see if this look makes any sense at the end. I actually think that I could hit pan on this shade sometime in this academic year, and I'm keeping this shade on my mind and using it. Not gonna lie, this little palette should have been on my August palette project, singles and neutrals, but I know that there will be another moment when this palette will need to be in my palette projects. It's coming up in the next couple of months, so I'm not too worried about it. I also know that I will probably hit pan in one or more shades this year on that palette. Sorry, we need to do some blending here. Some of these things are a little messy. This is a messy makeup, not gonna lie, because it is what it is. Let's just say that. It is what it is, and that's fine. I think that you are all gonna be fine. I think the point of this video was really to like talk about these few items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 makeup items that will leave my collection in June for sure. That was really the point of the video. I don't have eyeliners because my eyeliner collection is pretty curated at this point. I have pretty much the eyeliners that I want to have and that I need to have. What else? Mascaras, same thing. I don't really have a gigantic stash of mascaras, and the mascaras that I do have open, like, it's not a matter of retirement. Mascara is not something that you retire, it's just something that dries down, and you cycle through mascaras a lot quicker than probably any other makeup product because of its proximity to your eyes. And you know, it is what it is, right? So mascaras are not something that belong in something like a retirement tour, you know what I mean? This is really about products that have been in my collection for a while that will continue to be used and loved over the course of this year. But by the time I have to pack up my collection at the end of this academic year, they're just gonna be way too low or way too battered to really make a long journey. Right now I'm using a mini of the Too Faced mascara. Still working on this. It's proven to be rather durable. I understand why this is a bestseller. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I personally think that is pretty good. I'm looking around to see if I have a lip product in close proximity, but I don't. So let me go ahead and go apply a lip product and I'll be right back. All right, this is the completed look. I decided to forego a super intense lip product and I'm just wearing the e.l.f. Glow Reviver Lip Oil in Jam Session. Is this Jam Session? Yes, it is. In Jam Session. I fully expect to bring this out in full swing in the fall, winter and use it heavily because it does have quite a bit of pigmentation for me, but without the needed maintenance of something with a lot of color. This is, like, in my opinion, like the way that this looks on my lips, this is the lip oil version of Clinique Black Honey. Basically, that's what it is. So this is a completed look, a super easy neutral look actually, which means that I can easily see this combo of products, the retirement tour, being like a go-to for neutral makeups in the next year. This is gonna be like my baseline for neutrals. Not a bad thing to have like set up and go for a variety of products. So to recap, here are the products that are on their retirement tour in my collection as of now, which means that come June 2025, they will be departing to makeup heaven. First off, we have NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. We also have the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer. This is discontinued, by the way. I also have the Cookie Prep Up Eyeshadow Primer. I also have the Beauty Crop Glow Milk, 3 blushes, nude sticks, lip and cheek matte, lip crayon in the shade Belle, Stila Convertible Color in shade Magnolia, and the Melt Cream Blush Light in Pink Sand. Then we also have for highlighter, the e.l.f. Glow Gleam Beam palette in the dark shade. Brows are the Benefit Foolproof Brow Powder shade 5. And last but not least, 2 mini eyeshadow palettes. They both happen to be minis. The Natasha Denona Mini Nude Palette and the Zoeva Mini Cocoa Blend Palette. And that's it. So these are the products that I'm gonna be using as much as I can during this academic year, because at the end of it, I'm going to be partying with all of them for the best kinds of reasons. I've used them a bunch. I have hit pan on a bunch of things. And by the time I have to pack my makeup collection, they'll just be on truly their last legs and they're just not gonna be worth packing. Tell me in the comments if you have any makeup products that are kind of there, like you're just trying to get the last little bit of them before you say goodbye. Do you have a reason for needing to have makeup on retirement tour right now? Do you have a move? Do you have a big change happening coming up or anything like that you'd like to share? I'm always happy to hear from you in the comments. And of course, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. I hope to see you then. And I hope that for now, you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye-bye.